I'm sure you've heard about the food pyramid. Yes, you must have certain components, certain amount of vegetables, carbohydrates, starches, etc., to have good nutrition. Well, the same thing is true about success, and our guest today, David E. Phillips, is the author of The Success Pyramid on Carib Nation Television, coming up next. Welcome to Carib Nation Television. I am John Blake, and our guest is David E. Phillips, the author of The Success Pyramid. Welcome, David.
Thank you.
So tell us, is this your first publication, your very first publication?
It is indeed. It is my first, the first of many.
Right.
Yes.
I take it by the title, The Success Pyramid, it may be patterned after, we know about the food pyramid.
Yes.
You know, where you have particular components for good nutrition. And I guess the success pyramid, this is your formula for success.
It is indeed the formula for success. In fact, you know, when I think of the inspiration for the book,
Yes.
the inspiration came from two sources, really. One was my love of poetry. I have been writing poetry for some time. I love writing poems.
Well, that's obvious because we got a lot of poetry in here.
Yes, I have 10 of my best poems I've included in the book. But the book is more than just about poems, because though I enjoy writing poems, I also got inspiration from my children.
Wow.
Because they have always said to me that the kind of advice that I've given to them over the years have put them in good stead. And that when they mentioned to their friends the kinds of things that we talked about over time, they liked the kind of perspective that I brought to life. And they have often said to me, well, why don't you put it in a book?
So I take it this is not purely about success in business, it's success in life, period.
It's success in life. In fact, I have redefined success as the achievement of balance and compassion in your life, as well as the ability to realize the intended consequences of your deliberate actions. This is focused on action. The actions you take today will result in the best achievements tomorrow. So that's how I've approached this.
Right. I see you can actually use this as a study guide because at the end of each chapter you have a summary.
Yes.
So one can go over again the main points, the chief points. Of course, we're hoping that people read the whole book.
Yes.
If you
Yes,
don't
indeed.
have time, you could definitely get to the summary and
Yes.
see if you can apply some of these strategies.
Yeah. In fact, not only do I have a summary at the end of each chapter, but at the beginning of each chapter, I have the key learning.
Oh.
So I've identified in 2 snappy sentences, what is it that you're about to learn in this chapter? And then at
Sort of a preview.
a sort of preview. And then at the end of the chapter, I have listed some activities, because as I indicated earlier, this book is based on action. You've got to take action if you're going to be successful. And I've listed some specific actions that one can take to ensure that they are successful and that they achieve their goals.
So one can actually use this on the road to success.
Yes.
By taking these particular formulas. Now, I notice the pyramid, of course, starts with a broader base and it moves up to the top. From family, faith, friendship, we move to education, economics, enterprise, entertainment, and at the top, mentorship. Now, does the order have to be specific, or it's just in terms of the amount of each section that's applied? Why the pyramid?
It's the latter, the amount of each, not the sequence in terms of
I see.
chronological time.
Good.
When you think of any pyramid, every pyramid has a foundation,
Yes.
and you have building blocks reaching to the top. So when you think of a pyramid as a whole, it's 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 the totality of it that makes the difference. But then when you think of it as the food pyramid, I make a lot of comparisons to the food pyramid in the book, because I patterned this to some extent after the food pyramid. In the food pyramid, if you recall, it is, well, first of all, it was designed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture several decades ago. They came up with the food pyramid that suggests that if you eat certain types of foods
in the right proportions,
you're going to be healthy. And I say the same thing. If you do the right things, the right kinds of actions, in the right proportion, you're going to be successful. So that these actions should be done in this proportion, but not in this chronology.
I see.
So that's the idea.
Okay, well, let's start with the base. I know we want to do as much as we can of the other components. Family, faith, and friendship. Why is that the foundation?
Well, over the years, first of all, I want to also say that there's a target group for this book, and that will set the stage for the rest of the discussion about family, faith, and friendship. There's a target group, and that target group is young adults.
What age is
18 to 35 age group.
I see.
That's what I call the young adults. If we had the kind of information that is in here when we were that age.
That's so true for so many
For
things.
so many. we would be better off today.
Correct.
You know, this is the kind of information that young people need. And that's why I say to all my friends and my friends and my family, I said, you know, you have nephews, nieces, sons, daughters, you know, that you can give this to, because it will show them how to approach life. So I say that if they understand the importance of their family, and that their family must come first in their life, and they rally around the family to form a foundation for them, then when they leave and they go out, they are not only comfortable, they are confident, and they have the correct attitude, because the connection between family is the kind of connection that you can't get anywhere else. You know, I say to people, your family loves you before they know you. Your friends love you after they know you.
Right.
So if you stick with the love of the family, you are able to get much further.
Yes.
Let's go to faith. I talk about faith in the sense of being a family of people of like belief. And when you have that kind of foundation behind you, you can't fail. It's the intensity of your belief in your faith that makes you strong. If you believe strongly enough, whatever your faith, if you believe strongly enough in the forces of the universe to bring for you the blessings that you expect, you will get them. You've got to believe, though.
Yes.
And it really doesn't matter what faith it is. If you believe it strongly enough, and you do the things that your faith tells you to do, because every faith tells you about love and harmony. And if you do that, you're on your way to success. And then finally, friendship. Friendship is a network. You know, we can't, you know, it takes a village to raise a child. We have heard that so many times. That is so true. It's the network of people around you. And it's not just the friends you make as a child. It's the network you create as an adult.
Such as the inner circle.
The inner circle. The people that you bring into your life that are going to be there for you, come thick or thin, they're going to be there for you. And you've got to build strong networks. You know, successful people understand that a network is the key to moving to the next level.
Correct.
If you don't have that network, you're just not going to move to that next level. So I make that point in the book, that those three strategies, in a sense, those three principles of family, of faith, and of friendship
Is the
has to
foundation.
be that foundation for you.
Of the success pyramid.
Yes.
Next, I see education and economics, and we're going in proportion, not in chronological sequence.
Right. And in fact, let me say another word about the proportion. One of the things I have done is identify some specific actions you should take in each category.
Great.
So for instance, under family, faith, and friendship,
Yes.
I talk about random acts of kindness, things that you do, periods of meditation.
Yes, not doing something to get something,
Right.
but just being kind,
Just being kind.
generous.
Something that comes from the heart.
Correct.
When you do these things, it redounds to your benefit because life is a circle. Keeps going around. Everything you do comes back to you.
Maybe manifold, right?
Manifold. So that if you do the right things come back to you. You know, one of the discussions I've often had with my kids is the attitude that you take when you meet people.
Correct.
Whether it's in a business setting, in the store,
Social.
social, what you get coming back to you is what you gave
Put
them.
out. Yes,
is what you put out. So that cycle is critical to success in life.
It's important to mention here, I guess you're not suggesting to be a doormat and have people walk all over you by just giving everything, needlessly.
Right.
And you're not giving to get, which is
Right.
most important.
Right.
But you give from the heart.
Right.
You see something missing and you supply that.
Right. It's your altruism that,
Right.
that makes
That's
the
a good
difference.
word.
That makes the difference in your life. So, so if you take specific actions to strengthen your being under the family, faith, and friendship category, then you're ready to move to that next level,
Right.
which is education and economics.
Correct.
So my recommendation, for instance, is that you need 5 or 6 activities every day that fall into that category of family, faith, and friendship. Every day you do that.
Right.
But every day you also do some activities that fall into the economics and education category.
And I guess when you're talking education, it's not purely academic education.
Oh no.
It's much more than the academics.
You know, I say, I start off my chapter on on education by saying that too many of us are trapped in the wrong body of knowledge.
Right.
You know, we learn the things that we think are important to us, but they may not be. So you've got to get the right education for whoever you are. And that may be classroom education,
Yes.
or it may be street education, or it may be business education,
Or a combination
or a
thereof.
combination of all of these things. So you've got to find out what it is that you need to get you strength. It may be spiritual education.
Yes.
It may be religious. You know, I often say that, it's important to make the distinction between what's religious and what's spiritual. But whatever it is that you are comfortable with, you need to get it. So that education is, if we go back to the origin of the word, educo, to lead out,
Right.
we're leading ourselves out of darkness into the light.
Very good.
And that's what we need to do with education. And then economics is so important. One of the points I make in the book and I stress is that we should not underestimate or
Correct.
overestimate
Correct.
the importance of economics. I don't think anyone should get so caught up in money to the detriment of their family, their friends, and their own health. So that we need to understand how important money is, because we can't
Do without it.
we can't do without it.
But you need a balance.
But you need the balance. So that's the point I make here. Learn as much as you can about what money does for you, how it works for you. Get an education in economics.
Yes. Very important.
Very important. Learn what it does for you. Don't get too caught up in it that you lose perspective on life.
Yeah. In my financial services business, we say money doesn't come with instructions. So you have to learn how to use it or you lose it.
Oh yes, yes,
Certainly.
and that is so important.
But that balance is so important because we also have this principle in your life God first, family second,
Yes.
then business.
Right.
But a lot of businesses preach that, but they don't
They
practice
don't practice it. They
You
don't
know,
prac-
what-
Well, the other thing is,
The almighty dollar seems to rule.
yes, because a business is there to make profit.
I understand.
So what tends to happen is that the focus on profit
Paramount.
becomes paramount, and the resources that are needed, which is the human resources that are needed to get you that money, we tend to ignore the nurturing of that resource. That resource dies, and the money dries up. If we nurture the resource, the money will continue to flow. And something that you do in your business very well. So
Right.
I know you know about that.
Exactly. Another part of that success pyramid is enterprise and entertainment.
Yes.
Give us your definition of these two components.
So important. So we go from the 5 to 6 activities per day for the family, faith, and friendship, 3 to 4 activities. 4 to 5 activities for education and economics, 3 to 4 activities for enterprise and entertainment. So I say every day you need to do something that's enterprising.
Zing.
Something that takes you out of your comfort zone. Something that gets you thinking out of the box.
Okay.
We need to always do that and
In other words, you go home a different way.
try something different.
Don't go home the same way every day.
I say to people all the time, I like getting lost.
Yeah.
Because when I get
That's
lost,
where
I
you
learn.
learn.
I learn something.
A new way home, huh?
I learn a new
Or
way. So,
wherever
and
you
I
go.
never worry about that.
Right.
Because it's new. So that's what I talk about in enterprising. But I also say, if it means trying your hand at a business, that's good too.
Yes.
Well, because you always have
learn
to
by
do
your
that.
failures.
Yes.
In the business or in sports, for
Or in
example.
sports.
We talk about Michael Jordan and we talk about other great athletes. Nobody talks about all the baskets that he missed.
I know.
And he will tell you that's what made him better.
Yes, that is so
Same
true.
thing with the success pyramid.
So true. And then finally, the entertainment. I use the term recreation. I say entertainment is recreating the mind, re-energizing yourself, revitalizing yourself. You need to do that in order to face the next day. Every day you need to do something that helps you to re-energize.
Yes.
And that may be taking a stroll in the park, watching the flowers bloom.
It's a form of entertainment.
It's entertainment. That may be, if you like art, that may be sitting at the easel and drawing.
Right.
That's your recreation.
Yeah,
That may
creating
be
from nothing.
create something from nothing.
Right.
That may be, as in my case, getting on the golf course.
Right.
And
Or
playing
writing a
around the
book.
golf. Or writing a book. Indeed, writing a book. So these kinds of activities where you allow yourself to be new, to be renewed all the time.
Yes.
Constantly allow yourself to be renewed. That is recreation. That is critical. You need to do something in that category every day. Every single day you do something. And at the end of the book, I suggest that you actually write these things down. Make a list of the things that you're going to do every day in each of these categories and check them off.
Yes.
Check them off every day. Did I do something to do with faith and family? Did I do something to do with my education? Did I go to the library today and read a book? Did I spend, even if it's half an hour?
Well, I can see the need to do that, particularly as this is going to be a learning curve for most of us.
Yes.
It's not something that we did before.
Right.
So we need to take notes
Yes.
and then follow the pyramid.
Yes.
That's why the summary is there.
Yes.
So that you can follow these points as you go along. And if something is missing, you put it back in.
You put it back in. And I have indicated in each chapter summary, I've indicated 5 or 6 things that you can do. And I've said also, add your own. Take these 5, understand the category, and then add a few things yourself.
Right.
Things that resonate with you, that mean a lot more to you, that will make you a better person. So, and again, writing it down, and keeping
checking
a
it
track.
off.
Keep checking it off. You need to do that.
The final component is mentorship, and we said that this is a very, very important part of the success pyramid. David, how so?
Well, in life, none of us will be successful unless there was a role model or a mentor in our life that helped to show us the way. Now, it may not be a formal mentor or a role model that was a popular role model. It may be our parents.
Yes.
You know, I say my parents were my role models. They were my mentors. For others, it may be a sports personality. It really doesn't matter. It is observing someone who has attained a level of success, understanding what they did to attain that level, and following in their footsteps. That's role modeling. Mentoring is even deeper. I say it's a more spiritual level of role modeling, because now it's one-on-one. You know, role modeling is one on many. Mentoring is a one-on-one relationship.
Yes.
So you get an opportunity as a mentor to take someone into your system,
Yes.
and mentor them and give them the right information. And as a mentee, you get an opportunity
Correct.
to see firsthand the things that a successful person is doing. So I say, if all of us in life take a mentee and nurture that person, and I talk about it in my book as taking someone outside of your circle, a child in the neighborhood.
Yes.
Have a chat with them. You know, I remember as a kid, every mother in the neighborhood was your mother.
Yes, the extended family.
The extended family.
And I should mention David is from Trinidad and Tobago, just like myself.
Yes.
If you notice the accent.
Yes.
Yes. So
Yes,
the extended
indeed.
family was very important.
Very
in
important.
bringing
You know,
you
we
up.
all experienced that. Growing up, if you walked the street and did something wrong, the neighbor would call out to you and say, "Dave, don't do that."
Or may have permission to give you a few strokes.
That happened as well, and very often. But some mothers took it a step further.
Yeah.
There was someone in my neighborhood who called me on a regular basis and asked me, "How is your class going?
Yeah.
How'd you do in class today?" She became a mentor for me because she took that interest. So in addition to my parents, I had someone else taking that interest.
And you probably call her auntie.
Call her auntie. and you know, because she was that close.
Yes.
She meant that much to me. So we all have that. That's critical. We cannot be successful unless we understand that role of someone else in your life that is working with you and nurturing you. And it really takes a village.
Yes,
you know,
to raise a
a
child.
mother and a father, they just can't do it all alone. So it takes a village, and we have to understand that. So just as we received that when we were kids, we should in turn give that back.
Yes, sure.
You know,
And
as they say, pay it forward
exactly to the next generation.
to the next generation.
Indeed. And I can see that there are cases, it's not always a case where the mentor would be older than you. I've learned a lot from people younger than myself.
That's true. Very true.
And you've got to be open to that.
Yes. We have to be open to mentors from different parts of our life.
Yeah, your life experience.
From our life experience. We have to be open to that. And we also have to be assertive about mentoring other people.
Correct.
We have to assert ourselves and say, you know, I see that kid down the street. I don't like where he's going. I'm going to have a little chat with him. You know, I'm going to talk with him and see if I can get him back on the right track.
Correct.
Clearly, his parents are speaking with him too, but sometimes a little different voice.
And they listen differently.
They listen differently.
Because it's not their parent from that authoritarian position.
Right.
But someone who they may be more open to expressing certain things in their life.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
I can
true.
certainly understand that. Well, I want to talk a little bit about you now.
Okay.
Your background. We mentioned that you're from Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
You
Yes.
worked here, I know, with Verizon in the
Yes.
call center as a trainer.
Yes. Beginning as a supervisor, a manager, moved to a senior consultant.
Right.
So
correct.
when I left after 20 years at Verizon, I was a senior consultant to the managers, doing training in just life skills,
Correct.
business skills, what I refer to in the book as hard skills and soft skills, because all of these skills are important. So I worked my way up the scale at Verizon. It's a wonderful organization, and got a lot of training from them myself,
Right.
and was able to pass it on to others.
And you had other such experiences back in Trinidad?
Oh yes, in fact, before I came to the U.S., I was with the Trinidad and Tobago government at the Management Development Center as a productivity advisor, and in that position we worked with small businesses and provided training for them, training and consulting work in marketing, in sales, in
Right.
productivity, and that kind of stuff. So I've spent a number of years with the government. I've spent a number of years in training and in consulting.
And training others as well.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Are there any other books in the offering? Since this is your first,
Yeah,
seems
this
to
is
be
my
successful.
first, and
the success pyramid is successful.
Yes, it
so
is.
why not follow up with another one?
It is indeed successful. In fact, the response I'm getting, John,
Yes,
to
I can
this
see
book
that.
has been awesome. I have had people call me after reading the book
Right.
and express to me the satisfaction they've gotten from the advice that is provided in the book. I've had calls from many people who have talked about it. In fact, I've had people call me and say, I need to order 10 copies from you because I need to give it out as gifts to friends.
And that was before it was made public, I
Yes.
understand.
I mean, this has happened. It's awesome. I mean, one of my friends who teaches at a college in Boston, in fact, he's included here as one of, in terms of my acknowledgement. I acknowledged him as someone who read the book and gave me some feedback on it. And he called me after he reread it. He called me and said, you know, Dave, I think I would like to see this book as required reading in the college.
Good.
And he is making an attempt to see if he can get some of the professors to include it as required reading in the social sciences department. So it's that kind of feedback I'm getting that tells me that there's value. There's value to it.
Correct.
So.
Well, in the time that we have remaining, how would people get a copy of this book? We want to make sure they know how to put their hands on it.
Well, first they can call me. And my number is 301-980-9745. But they can also go to Amazon.
Okay.
They're going to go to Amazon.com. Just put in the name, The Success Pyramid, and it will come up. They can also go to the publisher, which is Create Space. If you go to the publisher's website, www.createspace.com.
Right.
But you need to put the book number, which is 392-4220, and you can get it that way as well.
Our guest today on Carib Nation Television has been David E. Phillips, the author of The Success Pyramid. I thank you for joining us today. I am John Blake.